I'm going to make sure no black person is a Democrat ever again. I hope you got enough common sense and critical thinking to understand what's going on right now. Can you just notice that they never got a solution for you and they always calling you a victim? You always need Medicaid. You always need food stamps. You always need government assistance. Why? Why you can't need a job? Lyndon Johnson said he gonna have these niggas voting for Democrats for the next 200 years because that's how goofy you is. They filibustered the Civil Rights Act. They took men out of your homes. They would rather them be homosexual than to be a man in a home raising a family. Do y'all not see this? They claim to be Christians but do everything against God. Are y'all Christians? I do not understand what's happening. Do you believe God's word or do you make it fit to your lifestyle? I do not understand what's going on. They play in your face and you let them do it. You let them work up your emotions. You let them build fear. What happened to us being slaves now? We supposed to be slaves 6 months into the Trump presidency and all locked up in concentration camps.
Okay. She was good. Did black people ruin their own families siding with Democrats? Anybody could start off first. Okay, don't be scared.
Where's that book?
I agree with what she said.
Yeah,
She
No
like
Lies
she like
Told.
on point.
One mic. Who? Go ahead, Bull. You first.
Oh, I was saying I agree with what she said. Like she was on point, especially with the why don't you get a job stuff. Because I feel like I want to say it's like too many people been like negating the system and using it for so long when that system is really built for disabled and military veteran people. So like some people just been taking advantage of it, I think.
Mhm.
I mean, I agree. I don't think she said anything wrong there. It's like what have they done positively for black community here in the United States since they've taken the reins back after FDR and the Great Society Act, and so many of the former slaves and descendants of slaves decided to turn away from the Republican Party and started voting Democrat. And then, when Lyndon B. Johnson signed in '64, that's when they got the rest of them. So the question is like what really has happened? Has it gotten better or has it gotten worse? And it seems like it's gotten worse. So
In what ways you think it's gone?
I mean, family first and foremost. I mean, family's the key. I was looking at something that I found was interesting. They always talk about the wage disparity between white and black, and I'm like, but they never say between East Asian and black, who literally Asian is the top 5 out of the top 10 wealthiest demographics here in the United States. And so if you look at their demographic, you'll see, wow, what do they have that's really strong? They have a strong family unit that's culturally over there. So I think that as we look at comparing to one side to the other, man, if we're not even starting at the same point with a strong family foundation, it's going to be hard to try to like kind of skip that step and then be successful in the next step and then skip that, be successful in the next step. We don't even have kind of some of the baseline movement. So I don't know. It's tough.
Mhm. Wait, so nobody on the panel voted Democrats in the past years? Nobody?
I mean, I have in the past. I've always felt like my political ideologies are more moderate, but I did vote more Democrat in the past until recently, particularly just with being a parent. For me, changed everything. It changed a lot of things. I had to look into local politics more
Right.
often. I had to look at what's going on with the school district, what's going on with the school boards, what's going on with, my local representative, because that affects us primarily, and then it's state, and then federally. So, and again, it kept on going further left, and then now, because people are so lacking educational wise between what is the mere difference between men and women beyond just XX and XY chromosomes, it's just become too much. So I try as much as I can. I'm not perfect to vote on the issue because there will be some Republican or conservative judges that I agree more with, and then sometimes there's some Democratic judges that I agree with, depending on what the policy is.
Okay. So if you don't mind me asking, did you vote Democrat this past year?
No.
Okay. Wait, why did you have to think so long? Like, it's okay.
Shit, you got going on.
No, well, I had to think because I didn't just vote straight ticket. I did look. I mean, there might have been one Democratic judge that I voted for, but I'm in Texas, so I mean, it's going to be red, red, red. But I mean, seriously, for the main issues that were concerning me, it was like, okay, it sounds good, and then I read more, and I'm like, oh, no, 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 no.
Okay. Does anybody disagree with the topic? Did Black people ruin their own families by siding with Democrats? Anybody got input? Everybody agree? Oh no. I feel like there's one Democrat voter on here and y'all lying. It's okay.
Nah, I ain't even vote, so I don't even count.
Why you
Like,
didn't
I don't
vote?
know. This is cause I don't know, like, me being from Louisiana, like a lot of politics in Louisiana, it don't really work out the same, you heard me? So it kind of like down there, it's kind of like pick your poison versus the bigger picture where it's like you pick a president. I feel like it's kind of the same thing. So like like Trump, I want to say Trump has done some good stuff, you know what I'm saying? But as far as like me voting, I still stay out of it. And I don't really want no picks and chooses with it.
Can I hop in there real quick?
Um,
So I ran for state assembly back in California in a super blue district, and one thing I have to say is like that sentiment of not feeling like you can't do enough in your area, that actually helps what I see is the people who are really against us, the class warfare that we're truly in, that actually helps them. The less people come out, the better it is for them. The easier it actually is for them, whoever the them is, wherever you are. If you want something different and you don't show up, where you can actually affect it more, like was mentioned earlier with the school boards and the city councils and the county supervisors. In 2020, I saw like it wasn't Gavin Newsom that shut down California. It was his edict. He said, "Hey, please do it." But it was everybody in LA. It was the mayor that shut it down. Followed by the city council backed them up. So if you were able to get in there, and it doesn't take that many votes actually, that I found out, to actually win these seats, because no one shows up. There's some people winning this stuff by like 22,000 votes in a 4 or 5 million a million person city. So imagine they listen. I'm telling you from firsthand experience, they listen when you can get at least 100 of your boys together. Now you guys are a constituent. Now you guys are someone that they have to stop and take a meeting with. They don't want to see that. They don't want you to come in there and be like, "Excuse me, can we have a meeting with you, Alderman so and so?" Because they know if you have at least 50 to 100 people, parents, to say you're a group of 200 parents, it's over.
Mm-hmm.
So stay involved locally. Nationally is actually less effective for what's going on in your life than locally.
And can I speak to real quick what the brother said?
yeah.
Earlier, well, a couple of months ago, I was talking to a school teacher from California. I believe a little bit south of LA, and she was saying how teachers have no say. The students are out of control. Even if the students are like spitting, like stabbing other students with pencils, and the teachers can't do anything because of a recent law that was passed that made it where they can't really discipline. So she was saying that in order for it to really change, the parents have to come together and sue the school district in order for any changes to happen. And unfortunately, some of the parents really don't care. So then you just have a cycle of these students becoming little monsters, and if they're not disciplined, then they feel emboldened to continue those behaviors. So that's just a you know and she's like, well, I'm about 2 years from retirement, and I'm just trying to stick it out, but it's getting really bad. And that's what happens if you ignore what's going on in your local school district, or really what's just going on locally, and say it doesn't matter. So it really is important, to the brother's point.
Yeah, I think when it comes to the school districts and everything that they're trying to pass, especially in Texas with like the LGBTQ things and what can be disclosed to parents if they want to be trans or gay or whatever. I think that a lot of parents aren't going to those PTA meetings or those group meetings and their school meetings, and they end up they're surprised and they say we don't have a voice. Wait, are you actually showing up to those important meetings that where you have to vote? No. So I think those are also very important because we can't always blame the teachers. We can't always blame the school district or the HR, the higher ups. Like where's the accountability for the parents in these choices that they can make and they don't make it. So I think we can't always just blame the teachers and the workers and stuff like that. What about these parents that aren't really doing their jobs in making the choices for their own kids? And I don't even have kids. And why am I speaking about y'all's kids?
You
Like,
know,
that doesn't make sense.
and to your point about like the parents haven't been there or involved for so long, and it's I used to go to school board meetings and try to speak before I even had kids myself. They haven't been involved for so long. Then whoever gets elected, for example, into the school board, and what teachers are going in there, you don't know till a decade pass, and then some, a couple of girls come out and say, "Well, that teacher used to touch us." Like if you're not around, not paying attention, you sit back and you let these, lack of a better term, creeps and these predators into your school so much because you just need to drop off and I got to get to work. I got to do and I got to go. I got to go and I got to let the state raise my kid. And it's like, well, we can't, like they say, you can't send your kid to Rome and you'd be surprised when they come back Roman, right? So we're seeing that these parents have to get involved because I think one of the best things COVID did was the at home learning. And one of the
Mhm.
reports I got, they got a lot of people got to see, wait a minute, you're teaching them what? What's going on here? So parents got to see firsthand, you've been slacking, parents. Like
These
you
parents
have to
are
get
teaching
involved.
their kids and they don't know how to do math themselves. That's the problem. Like, some of these parents was tired of their kids. Of course. Now imagine these teachers got to deal with your little poison child, and you don't even know math yourself. Make it make sense. You can't teach them how to read, and you can't even read a book. So I think that helped, but did that make a difference? I don't think so. They was ready for the schools to open back up.
Well, I mean, it helped a lot, I think, especially for Black folks, because they're the fastest growing homeschooling population in the country.
Really?
So, yep, yep. And then you got places like Tennessee that is I guess they give the most money for school choice that just passed and homeschooling in any other state. So there's places that are actually turning around, but of course we won't see like, hey, Black people are they're leaving the public schools because that's not a good thing to tell people,
Yeah.
and that you are number one in doing that. Like, why would they tell you that? Because then they'll say, oh, maybe where we're not getting results, we have an option to leave. They don't want you to leave. There's only one side not giving you school choice, and then they don't tell you when there's success with the school choice. So
And
it's
then
there, man.
Texas just recently passed in this past legislative session school choice after years of it being voted down. So
That's a good thing to know. Anybody else? Deja? No, you came in a little bit late.
Yeah, I have nothing to add. I agree with everyone. I'm in Florida, so I don't have any children. I kind of stay out of the children talk. But yeah, I agree with what everyone's saying.
I mean, why? You can still. I don't got no kids, but
I mean,
don't you know,
it's the same with what she said. Like, I don't have no kids, so I'm not in that type of topic. You know what I'm saying? Like, as far as everything y'all said, that's more so a parent issue. So that's something that ain't going home. It might be both parents, or maybe it's just one parent. That's that type of issue. But as far as like the local stuff, like I don't involve myself in it because I don't feel like I need to because I don't pay attention to it and I don't have to. But y'all saying I should. I mean, I can, but it's like majority of the stuff that's going on, it don't have nothing to do with me.
it
You know?
still affects you some way somehow because you're paying taxes. So
Yeah.
the
I mean,
taxes
yeah.
are
I
going
mean, it
into
do, but it's like what I'm saying. It's just it is what it is. You feel me? Like Louisiana got a history of being always being a red state. It's never been blue. So that's like it's a thing. So
Are you wanting it
and you can
blue?
really do
I'm
about that.
Yeah, but I don't think that it
No,
has
no.
anything to do with the state
Okay.
itself. It has everything to do with the environment and the mindset and even the city.
Yeah.
So for example, Texas has always been red, but Houston has
Hmm.
always been blue, right?
Right.
Um, California has always pretty much been blue, but except for when they elected Arnold Schwarzenegger as the governor. But all of the counties, most of the counties outside of Los Angeles and San Francisco and stuff like that, those has mostly been red, right? So when we think about politics, I think that we have to start thinking about it not necessarily on a state level, but from a personal perspective, because your county can very much be different county to county with how it is that they deal with different issues, even when it comes to schools, versus how it is that you looking at it on a state level. We always looking at it on a state level. The only thing that it matters on a state level, I think, for the majority of what happens as far as how we vote is, what happens in a national election, right? But and of course, state laws and stuff like that matters. But I think that a lot of times we don't think that things matter because it doesn't directly
Effect.
affect us immediately in that particular moment. But if you look at our cultural norms, it's directly tied to the way that we vote. It's directly tied to the way that we think. And so we don't necessarily take that into consideration, but our cultural norms is more or less aligned with when you look at homosexuality, for example, right? It affects the black community probably more than any other community. When you think about STDs, STIs, HIV, herpes, chlamydia, all of these diseases, it directly impacts when we keep getting these reports out in Houston and Atlanta and San Francisco and all of these places. It's directly tied to our lifestyle. And so we don't live, as a matter of fact, I would go so far as to say it's not even whether or not you Democrat or Republican, it's more or less whether you liberal or you conservative. Because to be conservative is to have a mindset that more or less champions family. Whereas to be liberal is more or less to align with, hey, you can do whatever it is that you want to do, put stuff in, use whatever bathrooms, all of that other type of stuff. And so free reign, free society, socialism, so on and so forth. And so, I don't think it's so much as Republican versus Democrat. I think it's liberal conservatives because liberals tend to vote more Democratic because of how they pander to y'all. When you think about the way that the single mothers, and that is more of a liberal lifestyle. The breaking up of the family, that is more or less aligned with a liberal lifestyle. It doesn't benefit you. You know what I'm saying? And so I don't think that people are really paying attention to the nuance and the details and who the people are that they support and how they get on the pulpits of certain cities and whether or not your preacher is inviting certain, politicians into the pulpit or whatever. I was in California this weekend and Jamal Bryant was the person that was doing a lot of the processions on Sunday as far as the honorary members that went into some of the sororities that was out there. You know what I'm saying? So, and it's like, are y'all paying attention to y'all leaders? Are y'all paying attention to the people that y'all follow? Are y'all paying attention to the people that y'all go to church with? And so I think that we too liberal. I think that we're too welcoming and we don't draw a line in the sand. And so the people that have the most to say are usually the ones that are leading us the wrong way. And so I think that the conversation is more nuanced than that. It was based off of Democrats, but there was always an underlying agenda that went along with it that then forced us to accept the way that we've been programmed from family to generation to generation that we automatically vote Democrat just because we black. That's crazy to me. That's insane to me. And so we don't think it's anything wrong with that. We don't even think it's anything wrong with having conversations as to why we vote in a certain type of way. We just do it.
Yeah, and then that's like to that point, like I won't say like the last time I voted was when Obama came in office. Only reason I voted was because my mom was like, "Hey, yo, whenever you leave your college class, go vote Obama." I was like, "For what?" She was
Because
like,
we
"Just
black.
do it," and I just did it. That's just how it was. Like, shit, okay, cool, got you. Like, it
So
is
so
what it
why don't
is.
so why don't you vote now? Is what I'm wondering.
It's because like I don't. I want to say going through college, I stopped watching the news just because I don't know, it'd be so much negative stuff, so much false stuff, so much lies and all that stuff. I'd be like, man, I ain't got time to, be dipping in all that and be worried about if a meteor gonna crush Earth or some bull crap, you know what I'm saying? So I just like stopped paying attention to the news, and like it just from there I was like, I don't really pay attention to the politics. Like if I see it on IG or something, I'll like give it a glimpse and head out, you know what I'm saying? But from there it's just like I ain't really got no political view on that. I just see it. Like I've kind of observed, you know.
So you don't think that your lifestyle and the liberties or whatever it is that you do on a regular basis is directly affected by is being determined by other people?
Yes and no.
How much you
Like,
being taxed? Um, what the speed limit is
uh,
inside of your city? Uh, whether or not you can and can be out at a certain time. Every single law, whatever millages, property taxes, how much your rent is going to be, the cost of living, food, so on and so forth. You don't think that all of that stuff is being determined for you by other people that may or may not even have your best interests at heart?